not going to talk about last week unless y'all got questions, and I'll talk about that then if you got questions on it. But moving forward to Missouri this week, they're a very talented team. They've had some tough losses here. To Georgia, to LSU, to Florida, three really outstanding football teams. Going on the road to their place is going to be a great challenge for our players. Looking forward to it as a coach and as our players will as this week progresses. A little bit about them. They're a lot more explosive. They've really changed a lot offensively from last year. They're throwing the ball a lot. More than they did last year and a lot more effectively. They've got great speed at the wide receiver positions. Their quarterback is off to a good start as well. As you would think, being an SEC team, their offensive lines and defensive lines are gigantic. Got a good running back, so it'll be a great challenge for us. Their defense was really good last year, and again, it's on pace to be one of the top defenses again in the SEC this year. So they've got good players, good coaches. They're very sound in the kicking game. So, like I said, we got to get ready to play a really good football team this week. So, open it up to your questions.
For a week at this point in the season?
To be honest with you, no. Because you played – three in a row right there with La Tech in North Texas and then Western Kentucky, and you kind of get in a conference flow, So I've always, and you can't draw it up how you want it, how you like it, but I've always liked playing the non-conference games early, But we've played them, with other teams later in the year, so. It's just where the schedule falls this year. But no, it's, preference. I'd like to stay in, once you get in conference, stay in conference.
Talked about their offensive line, and they are huge, and coached by Glenn Ellerby, who played here and coached for you. Because this is not the first time that you've been undersized on the defensive line going against a big offensive line. How do you make up for size, and is it with technique, quickness? What are the best ways to go about that?
You're not going to make up for it. I mean, they're as big as they are. They're quick, and they're athletic also. And Glenn is an excellent football coach. Did a phenomenal job in the 1 year that he was here with me. I know he was here prior to me being here. But Glenn is a great coach, and a lot of respect for him and how he coaches his players. So the big thing is when you play guys that are a little bit bigger than you is you've got to do a great job of getting off blocks. You got to be active. You can't be stagnant. You got to move, and hopefully our athleticism will enable us to get off their blocks. But they're huge. They're really big, and so we just got to do a good job. You got to compete. You got to fight. You got to play hard. And do whatever it takes to get the ball carrier on the ground.
Coach, Missouri's running the same kind of up-tempo spread offense that you see so much in the CUSA. Do you feel like that gives the defense a foot up, being accustomed to seeing that look?
No, sir. Our defense sees it every day in practice, so we're used to it. Every team we play, has been a spread team other than Vanderbilt. So we've seen it a bunch now. We see it every day in practice, like I said. So I don't see it being giving our defense a leg up. I think where you probably have more of issues defensively is when you play the teams that we've played, and now you got to go play a Georgia Tech, or you got to go play a Navy, on a week note or something like that, where the offense is drastically different every day. So, but our defense will be ready. We got good coaches on that side of the ball, good players on that side of the ball, so we'll be ready for them.
Coach, the offensive line has been able to keep Brent relatively clean this year, him too as well, scrambling outside the pocket. What sort of challenge does this defensive line from Missouri really pose this week? Is this one of the is there anything special you guys have to do against this bigger line, or just follow what you guys do every week?
Well, I think the big thing is, and I say it all the time, there's a lot of people involved in not giving up sacks. And it's not just sometimes a quarterback will get sacked, and it's not the offensive line's fault. Sometimes you get sacked, and it's the secondary. They're the cause of it. So there's a lot of people involved in not giving up sacks. And our offensive line has done a great job. Our backs have done a great job in protection. Brent's done a great job getting the ball out. And our receivers have done a good job also of working when Brent is scrambled. So there's a lot of components that are involved in that. But the big thing is you got to do your fundamentals. You got to do your technique. Everybody's got to be working on the same level, the same drop level there in the offensive line. So it'll be a challenge. But like I said, our players will be ready for it, and they'll accept it.
Against WKU, you guys had another good day in the red zone defensively. How have you guys been able to be so successful when teams get into the red zone? How do you continue that?
Well, to me, it's I said it all the time, they don't get a point till they cross that white line. And just make them snap it one more time. And our defense has done it. We spend a lot of time on the red zone in August, in camp, in the spring, given those different situations. So we spend a lot of time. Our coaches, defensive coaches, do a good job, and our players have done a good job of, just like, towards the end of the game, they get down, to the 2 or 3 yard line, and you find a way to get them stopped, on the half-yard line. So you just play it. You play as hard as you can every snap, one play at a time, and you're not rewarded till you cross that line. And that's the mentality that we have on defense, that we'll continue to play hard. But we've done a good job on the back in the red zone so far.
Kind of performance that Richie James had Saturday with breaking his own single-game receptions record?
I thought Richie was a lot better against Western Kentucky than he was against North Texas. I didn't think he was very good against North Texas, and he worked extremely hard. He took it personally the week of practice leading up to Western Kentucky game. He was more consistent with his routes. He didn't improvise as much as he was doing at North Texas, and made some good plays, had a good game.
Coach, is it any harder to move on from a gut-wrenching loss like you had the other day compared to maybe one where it didn't come down to, circumstance and double overtime?
Every loss has its own identity. That one Saturday stings, hard to get over, tough pill to swallow, but you got to swallow it. You got to be tough. That's what tough people do, and move on. But we have to learn from it, and like I talked to him yesterday, learn how bad losing tastes, and that you don't want to experience it again, and to get that feeling, that taste out of your mouth. So, no, that one, that was tough. And as a coach, and players hurt. They hurt, and as a coach, you hurt because you lost, but you also hurt because you see how much it hurts your players. So the investment that they put into that game, and then not have the success that they work so hard to achieve not happen makes it tough. It makes it tough, but you gotta man up, be a man, and move forward, because nobody's gonna feel sorry for you, and so no sense of moping around, stepping on your lip, and pouting and all that stuff. We gotta man up and go.
I don't know if you had a chance to see the later stages of the Missouri-Florida game. Tigers were down big, tried an onside kick, and Calgary ran it back. It didn't exactly turn out the way they wanted. But what does that tell you about Missouri? You know, they were down big, but they were still kind of scratching and clawing.
They're a good football team, and Florida scores 41 points, and they run 2 interceptions back for a touchdown and that onside kick. So Missouri's defense is really good. They're a talented team. Like I said, the coaching staff, I know some of those guys over there, and they're not going to quit for anything. So they're going to fight. He's building his program, the culture that he wants, and I have no doubt that we're going to play a really good football team this weekend. So it doesn't surprise me the attitude that they play with, because of they got good players, but the type of coaches they have over there.
Missouri returns a starting seven that ranked second nationally in tackles for loss last year. They're not ranking quite as high this year, but is this still a defense that plays very aggressive?
It'll be one of the best defenses we have played in a long time. They're really talented. They're athletic. They're big. They can run. Tackles for loss, all that stuff. That's seasonal. Sometimes you get it. Sometimes you don't have as many as you had the year before. So this is one of the top defenses in the SEC, and so it doesn't surprise me how good they are.
How does playing at Alabama and Vanderbilt help you guys on the road at another SEC opponent?
I think it helps. It's each stadium is different and unique in its own way. It's their homecoming this weekend, so they'll have a good crowd. But we've played these guys, not Missouri, but the SECs, the ACCs, so much now that our guys don't walk into a stadium in awe, and we're used to playing a couple of games a year in front of 80, 100,000 people, 50,000 people, whatever. So we're not going to be intimidated. We're not going to be in awe. We know the talent level of the players that they have. So I think it helps a little bit, but not. We're kind of been there, done that, so much that we're not in awe of it.
That you're the homecoming opponent, does that add an extra edge for you guys?
No, I don't. It's homecoming. To me, it's a game. They're not emphasizing, hey, it's homecoming. We got to practice harder. We got to play harder this week. It's homecoming, So to me, it's not an issue. No, sir. Good. Appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you.